Hello everyone. I'm Martin Wojtysiak, Chair of the SDSU War Memorial Committee. Welcome to the 24th Annual War Memorial Ceremony. Each year, we observe this annual tradition during homecoming. As with a lot of things this year, homecoming looks a little bit different, and so does our ceremony. This tradition began in 1996, and I'm proud to have been a part of it for the last many years. I'm also proud that San Diego State University, as evidenced by this monument and this event today, is so supportive of our veterans, and that we are cognizant of our history and grateful for those Aztecs whose efforts and skills, and in fact their lives, were sacrificed so that tens of thousands of our students could grow up and learn and thrive and enjoy this beautiful campus and the world preparation it provides. The group of people who founded this memorial and this event understood that. They knew that San Diego State students played a strong part in our nation's history, and they knew how important it would be that we never forget what they helped provide for all of us. Today, we honor San Diego State former students who died during military service during our nation's military conflicts. The brave Aztecs who paid the price for this country's freedoms with their lives. We are grateful to them, and we honor them by keeping them in our thoughts and in our prayers. We at San Diego State are fortunate to have a strong advocate of veterans programs and our military-connected students here on campus. It is my pleasure to introduce the president of San Diego State University, Adela de la Torre.
Good morning, and thank you for sharing in this special occasion when we honor our fallen Aztecs. As president of San Diego State University, I'm proud to share this deeply meaningful and unique experience. On most campuses, you won't find an annual wreath-laying ceremony to honor our veterans. You won't find a freestanding monument that serves as a symbol of sacrifice and commitment, and which honors former students who perished in service to our country. That's because San Diego State is different. For 123 years, this university has been a true reflection of its surrounding community, which includes a sizable military presence. There are more than 143,000 active duty personnel in the San Diego region, which is also home to approximately 240,000 veterans. At SDSU, there are more than 4,000 military-connected students, including veterans, active duty military, reservists, and thousands of military-connected family members, inclusive of the entire military experience. We are proud to have them here as important components of our diverse student body. After their service to all of us, military veterans may count on San Diego State to serve them as they begin the transition to the next phases of their lives. Nearly a decade ago, SDSU was one of the first 3 campuses in the nation to take part in the Department of Veterans Affairs Vet Success on Campus program. There are now more than 90 such sites across the country. The program provides a full VA counselor to assist military and veterans-related students with federal and VA benefits and programs. The Women Veteran Success Program provides resources to foster academic success, professional development, and personal growth for our female student veterans. And our Military Ally Program conducts awareness seminars to grow a network of faculty, staff, students, and community members as partners in fostering success among our military-connected students. Our Troops to College Committee brings together a diverse mix of campus offices, departments, and agencies to share best practices and information to assist veterans. SDSU Troops to Engineers supports graduating military students with career entry through assistance with resume preparation, employment workshops, internships, and career pathway options. But among all those things, there is perhaps no more powerful symbol of our commitment to military-connected students on our campus than this granite obelisk. This monument stands as an ever-present reminder to them. Your service is respected here. Your sacrifices are honored here. You are loved here. It stands as a clear message that you are a valued part of our SDSU community. We support your dreams, your goals, your ambitions, and we are committed to preparing you to achieve them. Many of the former students represented by the 239 names etched on the War Memorial were never able to reach their full potential. They were tragically stopped short of realizing their dreams. But through this monument, they can still accomplish what is vitally important in today's day and age. They can continue to inspire us, to follow new pathways, to seek new discoveries, to achieve in ways they could never have imagined. With their leadership, their sense of duty, and their selflessness, they served us. They continue to serve us, and they will serve future generations here at SDSU. Thank you.
Thank you, President De La Torre. Hello, I'm Chiloh Baty, and welcome and thank you for joining us. As SDSU Alumni Board of Advisors President, I can tell you there is no more important function I will perform during my term than to be here today honoring our Aztec service members and acknowledging their sacrifices. That's because ever since my day as a student on this campus, the War Memorial has stood for something very close to my heart. I know that one of the most selfless decisions a person can make is the decision to join the military. As a daughter of 2 Navy veterans, I have seen firsthand the sacrifices service members are asked to make when serving their country and the sacrifices families make in support of their service member. I can also tell you those sacrifices are made willingly and selflessly because of everything they ensure for all of us. While I was never personally acquainted with any of the 239 men and women whose names are etched in the granite, in a sense I know them very well. They were very much like my folks. You see, there is not a typical service member. They come from all different backgrounds, but all share a few basic principles. They are courageous, determined, and have endless and unwavering integrity. Service members have fought and died both here and abroad to defend our freedoms and our Constitution, and all it affords. That's why we're here today, to continue the tradition, the founders of the memorial, who were friends and classmates of many of these departed Aztecs. At the beginning of World War II, when our country came under attack, with the expectation they would finish their studies when they returned. But they never made it back to San Diego. So their friends and classmates saw to it that, with this memorial, they would always have a place here, that the sacrifices of these service members and their families would always be remembered. Which brings us here today as we have gathered for the previous 23 years. And my hope is people everywhere will gather at a safe social distance to remember, to honor, and to express gratitude to those that have served. Thank you.
Each year, we sponsor a contest in conjunction with this event, where students share, in poetry or prose, the significance of the War Memorial. Each winning student receives a gift card to the SDSU bookstore and the opportunity to take part in this ceremony. Please welcome this year's winners.
As I walk towards the Adams Humanities Building, I catch a glimpse of the SDSU War Memorial on Aztec Green. It towers over everyone, yet students are rarely seen giving it more than a few glances. It's monumental, but I wouldn't necessarily call it majestic. The jagged top of the memorial doesn't look right. It looks unfinished. Unfinished, such as the lives of those we lost. Yes, they were here one day and gone the next. We saw them depart in planes and ships that dared to return without them. Their lives had just started. Their lives were barely beginning. And just like dust, they were taken from us. Such a sacrifice should never be overlooked nor taken for granted. Such a sacrifice should be appreciated. The memorial that looms over us all is cold and it is lifeless. How much better would it have been to once again hold our classmates? Nonetheless, the memorial is a symbol of their service and sacrifice. It represents the classmates that we lost. Look close and you will see the name of a former student. Look closer and you will see a brother, a son, a husband at the dinner table on Thanksgiving or outside in the yard during a summer barbecue. Alas, they did not return. Though the memorial doesn't tell us the story of their lives, it reminds us what they did. Their duty was to keep us safe and protect our freedom. Let our duty to keep them in remembrance.
The former students memorialized on this monument will always be part of the campus and always be remembered. At this time, we offer a personal tribute to them as we recognize each one by name.
John E. Abbott, Raymond L. Adair, Herman H. Adelson, Robert M. Alber,
James N. Amos, Martin F. Anderson, Thomas Ariano Jr., Roger W. Armbrister, Richard D. Aubert,
Alan R. Bailey,
Bailey,
Richard H. Bailey, William E. Baldwin, Joe M. Barkley,
John W. Bassett, William C. Batchelor, John I. Beck, Claire V. Burdell,
Jack N. Berg,
N. Berg,
J. Burdett Binkley, John W. Borum, Frank S. Brasted, Warren W. Brown,
Forrest P. Brown, Maxton Brown, Richard W. Birch, Jack Burgess, Bruce Van Buskirk, John C. Butler, Raul Callow,
Wesley E. Carter, Gordon C. Chamberlain, Dennis R. Chamberlain, Richard Wilson Clark, Richard Winton Clark, Richard R. Clark,
Robert W. Cochran, Thomas H. Cousins, Harold D. Curry, George R. Dahl, Thomas J. Davies, Edward B. Davis, Sherman Denny, Charles Dowell,
Leslie W. Duvall, Wesley P. Eby, Howard J. Engel, Clifford G. Erdman, George R. Ewing, Adalbert Faulkner, Paul A. Fern, Don L. Finney, Gilbert
O. Fitzel, Howard Flizren, John J. Frazier, Claude Freakerson,
Jack Frost, Robert M. Fuller, Lyman J. Gage, Joseph N. Gates,
Clinton B. Caddy, Al Godell, William S. Goodchild, Robert Daniel Graham, Robert A. Griffith, Frank J. Guasti, Stanley D. Goo, George E. Hammond, Warren E. Hand,
James C. Hardin, William S. Hardshaw, Mason Harris. William Headington.
Edward L. Imblum. Douglas A. Jacks. Kenneth L. Johnson. Paul W. Johnston. Charles P. Jones.
Richard
F.
Cates.
Cates.
Arthur J. Kelly. James D. Coyster. Paul Kramer. Robert J. Landis. Wendell E. Langford. James G. Leonard. Alan F. Levine.
Jack Maida. Howard E. McBride. Lyle G. McLaughlin. John B. McGrew. George R. Moore. Francis H. Moore.
Ray
E. Moore.
Kenneth B. Moyer. Raymond W. Mueller. Russell Newberry. John R. Nolan. Frank D. Oliver. Donald C. Owen. Royal A.
Parks. James P. Parks. Sam J. Patella. Robert G. Peterson. A. Milky Phelps. Leo Poole. Craig Potter. Gilbert Kwan. Lynn E.
Rogers. Kramer W. Rohrig. George D. Rosado. Richard W. Roth. James Ruth.
Francis R. Ryan. Alvin D. Sachs. William E. Sage. James Samuels. Joseph H. Savage. Richard J. Sawaya. Edward L. Searle III. Maxwell B. Sherwood. Bill B. Shropshire. Faithful Simpson. Fred Simpson. Paul Seraton.
Thomas A. Skinner. Curry B. Smith. Robert H. Smith. Frederick B. Smith. Samuel C. Spade. John F. Stevenson. Victor R. Talbot. William H. Taylor. Ross A. Tenney.
Clarence F. Terry. Jerry E. Thomas. Alan Thomas.
Walter L.
Tishner.
Parker Totten. Frank R. Vidusco. John H. Vogt. Peter L. Voltz. Russell D. Wahlberg.
Mark P. Wangness. Donald L. Weber. Lawrence J. Werner. Clarence White. Clea E. Williams.
Robert James Williams.
Maurice G. Wilson.
Lewis M. Wynn, Jr.
Charles M. Witt.
William T. Wood.
John H. Adams. Isaac S. Best. Byron H. Chase. Kenneth W. Cox. Robert Dowdy. Norman H. Freeman. Hiram G. Glotfelder. Donald H. Hagee. Robert G. Harvey. Charles C. Kinney. William R. Lake. Donald W. McCormick. Charles R. Miller. Leroy A. Morgan, Jr. Robert C. Nida. Thomas H. O'Brien. Lester F. Hage. William R. Patton. Richard Phillips. George C. Pierce, Jr. Willis Preston Smith. Herbert L. Tompkins. Robert Joseph Williams.
Francis A. Barnes. Cheryl D. Bell. Howard R. Bowling. William J. Bradshaw. Ronald H. Brown.
Michael T. Burns. Daniel L. Carrier. Rodney B. Carter. David M. Christian. Michael J. Crawford. James P. Crook. Darryle W. Crum. Ronald L. Davidson. Richard A. Delighty. Thomas F. Durbin. Lauren E. Engstrom. John L. Flynn.
Robert M. Foley. Ralph E. Folks, Jr. Peter W. Gilmore. Larry Himmer. Henry Hudson, Jr. Dennis A. Jenkins. Stephen D. Joyner. Frederick M. Cash.
Robert V. Kurlich. Kenneth J. Lamberton. James
F.
F.
Lang.
John
J.
J.
Lewandowski. Victor W. Liu. John P. Markin, Jr. Jeffrey L. Martin. James M. Mitchell, Jr. Ronald E. Morgan. Maurice C. Morrell. William C.
Neistel. Charles L. Parker, Jr. George W. Pearson, Jr. Walter J. Peters. Terry W. Ratcliffe. Eugene L. Rathman. Gerald R. Roberts. Robert W. Romero. Paul W. Rose. David J. Rose.
Gerald M. Rumble III. Richard L. Russell. Charles J. Scharf.
John W. Tunnel. John A. Vogt. William E. Walters. George W. Ward. Ulysses N. B. Wilkes, Jr. Gene T. Wright.
Matthew G. Axelson. Florence Bakong Cho.
Jason W. Davis. Christian J. Hescock.
Oscar A. Jimenez. Andrew D. Lamont.
Justin L. O'Donohoe. Jason J. Painter. Thomas E. Retzer. This concludes our ceremony. I would like to offer my thanks to the fellow members of the SDSU War Memorial Committee who help us plan throughout the year for this event. We are grateful for the time and expertise they share with us as volunteers. Thank you all.